Okay, so now we'll just do the drop in from the other side. A couple of things that I didn't catch on film as I was coming by the last time. I wanted to show you something that's super important to me, something that I give all the props in the world to and all the respect in the world to, and that is our fine United States Coast Guard. We are going to be passing here in just a second. We're going to be passing the office and or the boat location straight down in front of me down there on the water. That brown building down there and that one with the black trim on the top of it, that's their quote-unquote boat yard. That's where the Coast Guard rescue and recovery boats and all other operational boats that the Coast Guard deal with are from here. Up here, that's their obviously their parking lot. One of a couple administration buildings is right here. This is where the Coast Guard brass, and then they get their commands and operations center and that kind of stuff is all from here. That's some seriously old historic building. That's a retired rescue and recovery boat right there. So, and then we come back down into the section I showed you coming across the other direction. Now I'm going to go back down there so I can go back down to the international dock. So this video will be a little bit longer, but it'll give you certainly a very quick idea of the distances. It's not like I'm dealing with vast distances in this area of the world. Just a couple of miles worth of commercial processing and or distribution and or fuel and or parts and or labor, all the things that are involved in the commercial fishing industry you can find here. This is, like I said, this is one of the strongholds of the commercial fishing industry of the West Coast. Yeah, the East Coast has got some, and trust me, I fished out of all that. I fished out of Key West for a while. I had a boat and a business down in Key West for a while. But everything's a little bit different over there. Everybody seems to concentrate on stuff with big teeth. Anyway, there's more than that kind of stuff that's produced. And yes, I do know about the upper East Coast. You know, they got the bottom fish complex and all that kind of stuff. But something about the Pacific that is more appealing in the commercial aspect of fishing, for me anyways, in commercial. Now, if I was going to go back and run a sport boat business, I'd be heading right back down to Key West for sure. But we're not doing sport boats. I don't take customers out to sea with me unless you got some seriously deep pockets. But you know, it is what it is. So I prefer the West Coast. Oh, by the way, that Mexican truck, that food truck right in front of me, that's got Mexican food. He's an old friend of mine. He's been here for decades and decades and decades. They sell some of the best food off that truck. I love those people. They're old friends of mine. I've known them forever. So we all are growing old together. Anywho, you can see crab pots sitting all over the place. That's because a lot of these people are now ending. The season isn't officially over with, but you know, operations have to make decisions about the cost effectiveness of participating in any particular fishery, as opposed to pulling the gear of that one and then changing over the gear on his boat and going and participating in a different fishery altogether. Such as right now, salmon season's coming up on everybody, and then about 2 months or so it'll be tuna season, especially for these near shore guys. The faster I can get a hold of this boat, the faster I can get some of that maintenance work done, the faster I can point that thing offshore. I go out, I'll be on average, I'm about 12 days away. That's running 6 miles an hour, 24 hours a day for 12 days. That's the distance out in the ocean at which I will loiter around. And then from there, I'll be working either north or south, depending on the water temperature. Albacore tuna respond to a water temperature. The best water temperatures for albacore tuna are between 59 and 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, they're in warmer water. Yes, they're in colder water. Colder water, they won't bite. Sorry about that. Going by a vacuum over there. Colder water, they won't bite. Warmer water, they become lethargic. They're not as they're more top feeders at that point, where you're not sitting on schools, but you're sitting on a bunch of tuna that are just scurrying across the upper surfaces of the water, chasing individual baits or very small schools of bait. They're up in the plankton, that kind of stuff. So anyway, 59 to 61 degree water, 63 degree water, that's where ideally at. 61 degree water is like the perfect find. Then you start looking for edges where it's 2/10 or 3/10 of a degree temperature break. That's where you'll find fish congregate at those sharp temperature breaks inside of a body of water that is similar to each other. Yes, I know I'm rattling on. We're gonna keep driving here. In another 2 minutes or so, we're gonna be in that other port that I was talking about, which is called the International Port here in Newport, Oregon. As you can see by the amount of cars here, this is nothing. Wait till the tourists get here. This is like an average day here in this area. We have that many people, a lot of campers and what have you, people that are specifically come here specifically to buy fresh product. A lot of these boats down here are licensed to sell their product directly to the customer off the boat, such as myself. So we do a lot of that ourselves. We create a lot of our own markets down in here. These are vacation condos, the Landing. There's another one right over here as well. You know, so a lot of hotel room here. They're booked out forever and ever. It's hard to get space in this community. These places have been booked out forever and ever. We'll see how that goes with this difficulty in our financial system. We'll find out whether or not that type of thing persists or not for a while. I imagine things are going to get a little rocky. Believe me, I am a bullion stacker. I believe in silver 1,000,000,000,000%. You know, gold, I can't afford to put money in gold because, you know, I'm looking at $1 million+ expenditure on a boat and or the maintenance, putting 20,000 gallons of fuel. So, you know, start looking at the national average, what it costs for diesel, off-road diesel, and then multiply that by 20,000 gallons. That's what I'll be facing, the bill I'll be facing here real shortly to go out and get you guys your albacore tuna. Now, there you go. The port's down in front of me, and you can see that it didn't take me very long to get there. And just like the other one, this one's got the equipment in it. Now, these are equipment for the big boats. This is where we'll have to loiter over here because we're a little too big, a little too deep, a little too long for the other ports that I was just at, except for during high tide to be able to come in there and unload. So you can see a lot of gear around here. There's several boats. Each one of these boats down in here does participates in different parts of industry, a lot of that kind of stuff. You can see there's guys doing gear work. For you women of interest, you listening, this building right here, the one I'm pointing at, the one that's got the white pickup and the white SUV, that lady right there, she is the premier net designer and builder of the world, Sarah. She is foul weather nets there. She is these big nets right here, all this big gear right here, these big nets, all that stuff. This lady right here has been building these in here.